Hey, sorry I'm late. Got a little caught up.
Benny Goodman and his music.
Should find some better lighting in here, huh? No, not showing the hall. There's some stuff a transpiring over in the other room. There's a doings a transpiring. Hey, everybody. Morning, Chris and Martin. Let me grab my cranberry juice. See, it says juice. Juice. Hey, Katie, Cindy, Jerry, Beth, Larry, Dina, Debbie. Hey, everybody. Working from home today. Got so caught up in a research thing that is all I can really talk about right now. And switching to some whole other topic just seems tricky. Hey, Laura. Hey, Kathleen and Nancy. Hey, Kathy. Carol, Betsy, anybody I might have missed back there. Welcome along, everybody.
And first of all, one of Irving
Give it a
Berlin's
second for everybody to get on.
Blue Skies.
It'll be kind of a quick one today. Yeah, here comes Miles. Hey, Miles. Yeah. Hey, hop up. Come say hi to the nice people. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Kendra, Ann. Hey, Lisa in Kenosha. Oh, man, I look like a freshly showered and all. Hey, Cesare in Poland. Hey, Kendra, Beth, Becky, Dina. Hey, Nancy. Give it just a sec. We're going to do a kind of a quick one. I've been researching, working on the Trinity Churchyard book, which is a little out of Chicago. But I keep on coming on stories that are just wild, like stuff connected to historical events that should be better known, but are just so complicated. You got to talk about them for pages. Kathleen, yeah, we got a couple of mollies back here. And Miles seems to recognize this music and show up because he knows he's going to get some attention. Morning, Grandma Bell. All right, I think everybody's about here. So, all right, welcome along, everybody. So today, what we're going to be talking about just quickly is we're going to move out of Chicago a little bit. I mean, I've spent enough time giving you guys New York tours lately. And there's more of those coming as well. But right now, I decided I would start doing some more research on a Cemeteries of Manhattan book, because I feel like a lot of the churchyards down in lower Manhattan, like Trinity Church and St. Paul's, haven't really gotten as much attention as they deserve, considering how many people go to these places. There's just like a small handful of little plaques around. Like one guy who is not covered at all. We'll cover this a little bit here. First there's a great poem on Mary Ragg there. Spin, spin. That's the big statue of Mr. Watts, who's not interesting at all. To our left here, Alexander Hamilton and Eliza. Probably Philip, though we don't really know where Philip is. I would posit, though, that we don't necessarily know exactly where much of any of these people are. Presumably they're near their gravestones. Possibly not. But over here, you can see, we'll move along here a little bit. Show some of this footage that I've been putting together. These death's heads. But right about in this spot, we can see this little recently restored entrance to a vault. If you were to lift this up, there would be like some stairs leading down to a door leading to this little subterranean crypt. This whole churchyard is just honeycombed underneath with these stone vaults. This one is Matthew L. Davis Sepulcher, but is best known for his Matthew L. Davis's son, also named Matthew L. Davis, who looked like this at the time of his death in 1850. And it took me some doing just to make sure that this was actually the right guy. So there's not a lot of things like records, but I did finally find in his death in 1850, there was this thing in the Commercial Advertiser. On Friday the 21st instant, that means this month, in the 84th year of his age, Matthew L. Davis, after a long illness, his relatives and friends, blah, 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 blah. His remains will be deposited in the family vault at Trinity Church, where funeral services will be performed. All right, so that settles it. This is, in fact, Mr. Davis. You can see right across here, you can see Hamilton is a stone's throw away from him. You can stand there and look at Hamilton, which is an interesting coincidence that somebody pointed out in the 1890s. As, Matthew L. Davis was Burr's best friend, Aaron Burr's best friend, and also the second at the famous Hamilton-Burr duel. So, presumably, I don't think this is actually drawn from life, but presumably, one of these guys in the picture would be Matthew L. Davis. He also became Burr's biographer later on. He read a really interesting life himself. He was involved in politics, but kind of treated it like a game. He would build somebody up and get him a nomination just so he could defeat him in the election. And really, it was said that he did this all just kind of for fun, all because he could make money at it. Very kind of an early pioneer of modern politics. He was held up as that as early as like the 1700s. In any case, I'm just going to read a quick excerpt from the introduction to the memoirs of Aaron Burr that he was the editor of. He was a good friend of Burr throughout his life, battled against Thomas Jefferson with him off and on, exchanged letters with like every president, every person of importance of his entire era up to his death in 1850, but was in particularly after Jefferson's letters were published, he really urged Burr to hurry up and get his own memoirs out. Burr entrusted him with all of his papers, but when the book actually came out, I guess they had kind of a falling out, because the first line, he opens with a quote from Julius Caesar, "I come to bury, not to praise." So, here's what he wrote in the introduction. "It is a matter of perfect notoriety that among the papers left in my possession by the late Colonel Burr there was a mass of letters and copies of letters written or received by him from time to time during a long life, indicating no very strict morality in some of his female correspondence. These letters contain matters that would have wounded the feelings of families more extensively than could be imagined. Their publication would have been a most injurious tendency and created heartburnings that nothing but time could have cured. As soon as they came under my control, I mentioned the subject to Colonel Burr, but he prohibited the destruction of any part of them during his lifetime. I separated them, however, from the other letters in my possession and placed them in a situation that made their publication next to impossible, whatever might have been my own fate. As soon as Colonel Burr's decease was known, with my own hands I committed to the fire all such correspondence, and not a vestige of it now remains." Now, in this, he probably thought he was protecting a lot of people's reputations, probably including Burr's himself. However, just the fact that he brought this up, this became like the first thing anybody remembered about this guy after his death, was that this was the guy who destroyed all of Aaron Burr's sexts. So, and there were plenty of rumors about Aaron Burr and his various dealings, most of which we can now only imagine and have to assume must have been true, because any evidence to the contrary would have been destroyed, and more likely from the nature of the description of this evidence, it was probably backing up the worst of the stories. So this is some really good intrigue. And now, after his death, he was deposited here in the family vault, just across the very small yard from Colonel Hamilton. So, fascinating stuff. Just trying to get my head around this guy's life and career has been really tricky. He was a journalist for years and years. It was generally said one big difference between him and Aaron Burr is you could always count on Aaron Burr to keep a secret. Matthew Davis was exactly the opposite. If you had a secret, you had to really make sure that this guy did not hear about it, because he would definitely leak it. In fact, he was known as the Washington Spy. For a while, he was living in Washington and getting reports of Senate proceedings from the wife of a senator, who would then publish it he would then publish it in the press. Trying to get my head around the guy. The guy's got no Wikipedia entry of his own. There's a couple of articles talking about his notes on Jefferson's letters, his correspondence with Burr. That opening quote about the letters indicating no very strict morality comes up now and then. But the guy is really fairly broadly forgotten today. He's still got a pretty nice thing here. It took me a while even to determine that was really him at Trinity Church. So, that's what's been occupying me all morning. Yesterday I was on another guy in here who's connected to some other people in here, and a woman who was buried on the inside of the church, and it just gets wilder and wilder. I really should have been going out to Rose Hill today to try to plug tomorrow's tour. So tomorrow morning we will be in person at Rose Hill Cemetery. Go to adamchicago.com or mysteriouschicago.com. Still a handful of tickets left for that one. that's pretty much it for me today. So thanks everybody who has joined me out here today. I will see many of you tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, we'll be right back over here for another virtual tour at 10 o'clock, but then I'll have to hightail it over to Rose Hill to do the Rose Hill walking tour. So everybody, I hope to see you out there, and I will see you Monday for Mural Monday, and we will just continue on as normal. So thanks everybody. I'm Adam from Mysterious Chicago Tour saying to stay safe and stay strong, and of course, if you can, stay spooky, everybody.